In a world that celebrates grand declarations and public romance, there exists a quieter, more fragile kind of love, one that never makes it into songs or films, yet endures longer than most. It's the kind of love that lives in silence, breathes in longing, and dies in the corners of a heart that never dares to speak. This is the story of a girl who fell in love with a star. Not for fame, not for fantasy, but for the real, gentle soul she believed Xiao Zhan to be. Her tale is not known to the world. Not even to him. And yet, for those who knew her, the story is unforgettable. She was not the kind to chase after attention. In fact, many described her as aloof. A person with an air of aloofness, someone who stood apart not because she tried to, but because that's simply how she was. Quiet. Reserved. Deep. Her silence wasn't shyness, it was intentional, a reflection of her nature. She chose solitude not because she disliked people, but because she was selective with her energy. She moved through life like a quiet observer, feeling things deeply but expressing them rarely. When she met Xiao Zhan, it was under mundane circumstances. They weren't introduced formally. There were no sparks flying, no dramatic first encounter. Just a moment, a glance, a smile, a fleeting interaction that etched itself into her memory. And that was enough. She noticed the way he carried himself, polite, modest, and gracious in even the smallest exchanges. It wasn't about looks, though his appearance certainly didn't go unnoticed. It was his aura, calm, composed, and kind, that captivated her. She didn't fall in love with an idol. She fell in love with a human being, with a presence. And even though she rarely spoke of it, it was clear to those close to her that something had shifted in her ever since that day. She never told him. Not once. Not directly. Not through a friend. She couldn't. It wasn't that she lacked courage, it was that her feelings felt too sacred to expose. Instead, she waited. Hoped. Dreamed. Maybe one day he'd notice her. Maybe one day he'd speak first. Maybe one day something would happen. But he never did. Not because he was cruel or indifferent, but because he simply didn't know. Her devotion wasn't built on interaction. It was built on quiet observation. She memorized his habits, the tone of his voice, the way he treated others when he thought no one was watching. These tiny details fed a love that no one else could see. While most people around her thought she was simply an admirer from afar, they didn't grasp the depth of her emotion. She tailored her routine around the slim chances of crossing paths. Even without acknowledgement, seeing him, even from a distance, was enough to uplift her entire day. Her feelings weren't fleeting or whimsical. They were anchored in who he was at his core. She loved him without reward, without interaction, without expectation. And in a strange way, that made her love feel even more genuine. It was not based on reciprocation but on reverence, a quiet flame that burned steadily within her. To anyone scrolling past her social media, her posts might have seemed poetic, introspective, maybe even melancholy. But to those who knew her, every quote, every lyric, every vague caption was a breadcrumb, a trace of the love she held for him. Her profile was like a hidden diary, written in code, where the protagonist was always Xiao Zhan. Her friends saw it clearly. He wasn't just her celebrity crush. He was her anchor, her standard, her unreachable dream. She never posted photos of the two of them together, because there weren't any. But somehow, her entire timeline was saturated with his presence. Not through tags or mentions, but through metaphor. A song lyric about waiting. A poem about yearning. A caption about stars and silence. All pointed back to him. Each status update was a confession disguised as art. While her outer demeanor remained calm and collected, her social media became the only space where her emotions were allowed to breathe freely. Her friends often discussed how her posts made them feel things they hadn't felt in years. Nostalgia, tenderness, even sorrow. Without naming him, she built a digital altar that immortalized a love that never bloomed. Her online presence was both a release and a reminder. She never intended to gain sympathy or attention. She simply needed a place to feel. And so, her social media became an emotional canvas, painted in the colors of an unspoken devotion. Time didn't dilute her feelings. On the contrary, they deepened. She watched him rise to fame, becoming a beloved figure in the eyes of millions. And yet, in her eyes, he was still the same boy she once noticed in passing. Others dated. Others moved on. But not her. While she never claimed to be waiting, she never opened her heart to anyone else. No one compared. No one made her feel the same. Her friends stopped asking why she was still single. They already knew the answer. Each year added layers to her attachment. As she grew older, her feelings matured, not in intensity, but in understanding. She realized that she was never in love with the fantasy of being with him. She was in love with what he represented: kindness, sincerity, and a quiet strength. He became a symbol of everything she admired and valued. She followed his journey silently. Every success he achieved brought her genuine joy. Every hardship he faced tugged at her heart. But she never inserted herself into his narrative. She never crossed that line. For her, loving him was never about proximity. It was about presence. As long as he existed somewhere in the world doing well, she felt a strange sense of peace. Her love matured into something both heartbreaking and beautiful, a lifelong secret that shaped the woman she became. Then, life changed. She moved away, to another city, another chapter, another fate.
Vis distance came silence.
There were no more shared spaces, no more rare glimpses. The already fragile thread that connected them snapped completely. She never reached out. Not that she would have. He wouldn't even realize someone had disappeared from the edges of his life. And just like that, she was gone. But her feelings remained. Buried perhaps. Quiet, definitely. But not gone. The transition was both physical and emotional. Moving away didn't just mean changing zip codes. It meant letting go of a routine that revolved, consciously or unconsciously, around the possibility of seeing him. It meant dismantling the hopes she had built, one silent daydream at a time. And yet, there was no dramatic heartbreak. No tears in the rain. Just a gentle ache that accompanied her as she unpacked in a new city. She found herself looking for him in strangers, listening for his voice in the crowd, even when she knew better. Letting go wasn't sudden. It happened gradually, like the fading of a song you once played on repeat. But some melodies stay with you forever, even when you no longer hear them. Xiao Zhan had become that melody, a tune from another time that still hummed quietly in the background of her life. It's easy to dismiss unrequited love as foolish or immature. But the truth is, it often reveals more about the lover than the beloved. For her, loving Xiao Zhan wasn't about fantasy. It was about finding something pure in a world full of noise. He represented calm. Kindness. A form of goodness she saw so rarely that she clung to it in the only way she knew how.
Trug silence.
There is a rare kind of beauty in unrequited love.
It demands nothing. It harms no one.
It simply is. A flickering candle in a room that no one enters, but still it burns. She never expected Xiao Zhan to love her back. She never wanted him to feel pressured or confused. Her love was never a transaction. It was a quiet gift she gave the universe, and in doing so, kept a part of herself safe. Now, years later, she no longer posts about him. Her profile has changed. Her life has changed. But somewhere deep down, Xiao Zhan still holds a space in her heart. Not in the obsessive way some fans might. But in that soft, nostalgic corner where first love lives forever. She has let go of the fantasy. But not the warmth. That, perhaps, is the truest form of love. He will never know about her. Never know how much space he occupied in a stranger's heart. Never know the comfort he unknowingly gave. Never know that in the crowd of fans and followers, there was once a girl who didn't ask for an autograph, didn't chase after him, but simply loved. And perhaps that's okay. Some stories are meant to stay untold. Some loves are meant to stay unreturned. But that doesn't make them any less real. This story is based on a recollection shared by someone who knew the girl personally. It is not an official account, nor has Xiao Zhan ever confirmed knowledge of this situation. Please view it as a narrative of emotion and reflection, not fact. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, even a little, please let us know in the comments. Have you ever experienced a love like this? Or known someone who did? We believe every untold story deserves to be heard. If you enjoy real-life emotions, hidden stories behind celebrities, or beautifully told narratives of the heart, make sure to like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe and hit the bell for more emotional content. Let us bring you more stories that stir the soul. See you in the next one.